To a super late edition of Street Apologists Live. I'm your host, Vocab Malone. I know it's late tonight, but I just couldn't go to bed until I did this program. And this one might be a little long because we got a lot of video to watch. So for you night owls, this is right up your alley. For those who aren't, you guys might complain, and I'll just delete the comments because we don't need any haters. But I'm going to enjoy tonight's show. I think it's very important. We're going to talk about money, possessions, tithing, and it looks like I might have been wrong about the Isupk Hebrew Israelites as far as giving goes, or in their case, they say tithing. And I'm going to explain that tonight. But just know the explanation only invites more questions. Tuesday, June 8th, 10:05, Phoenix, Arizona. Street Apologists Live, the show where we serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. Let's go. When you look at the New Testament, you never see the principle of tithing reiterated. I think that's important. I think that's interesting. The tithe is considered 10%, but when a person does the math about what ancient Israel was to give when you add it all up, some estimates put it at 23% because it's not just the 10%, there's other things that they're to give throughout the cycle of the year. Now, this is not a cash-based society, ancient Israel. So it's crops, right? Animals, depends on what they're supposed to give. But certainly the principle of giving is reiterated for the New Testament church, for God's people in the New Covenant. Generosity is certainly something that we're supposed to practice, right? And isn't it beautiful that when we read in the New Testament in Acts, it says there were no needy persons among them. So you see the early church taking care of each other. This is a beautiful thing. And I'm looking here at a book by Randy Alcorn before I get into this called Money, Possessions, and Eternity. This is a really good book. Don't agree with everything, but I think it's very helpful. What should our attitude towards money be? Here's something that second century church leader Justin Martyr wrote about what our attitude should be about money. We who formerly treasured money and possessions more than anything else now hand over everything we have to a treasury for all and share it with everyone who needs it. That's a good thing, isn't it? You see that there's distribution of food that comes out of this in Acts chapter 6, and it's very important to have the right attitude towards wealth, towards money, towards possession. Now, even though the New Testament never reiterates tithing, you're never going to catch me saying that doesn't mean we're not supposed to regularly give. In fact, we are supposed to give. When you look at the New Testament guidelines for giving, there are some guidelines there, and it's supposed to be regular. 2 Corinthians 9:7 says, each man should give what he has decided in his heart to give. Now, if tithing was the operative principle, why would Paul write something like that? That shows it's a different principle at work. Now, I believe tithing is sort of a training wheels. So it's kind of like at least 10%, I think, makes sense. But we're not only to give regularly, we're also supposed to give generously. Remember when Jesus commended the woman in Mark chapter 14 because she gave generously? We're all supposed to give regularly. 1 Corinthians 16:2 says, on the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with his income. So it's proportional, but notice he still doesn't give a figure. The new covenant is not identical to the old. Shout out to the super chatter, Follow Jesus. Thank you very much for doing that. Everybody else can do the same if you so desire. And again, I apologize for late and all that kind of stuff, but I'll explain why here in a second. We're also supposed to give voluntarily. These are of the nature of free will offerings, right? As your heart moves you, which actually is something that you even see in Exodus in regards to free will offerings, right? 2 Corinthians 9:7, each man should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion. Now, we're going to watch some video tonight where under compulsion is the operative principle going on. We're supposed to give sacrificially as well. We see Paul commending churches for doing that. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 2 and 3, for example. King David had that same attitude in the Old Testament. We're supposed to give excellently. 2 Corinthians 8:7 exemplifies that principle. We're supposed to give cheerfully. 2 Corinthians 9:7, right? Our attitude should be in line with this activity, which is ultimately worship. We are supposed to give proportionately, as we discussed earlier, 1 Corinthians 16:2. And we are supposed to give, right? And God gives provision for the giver, and it's a beautiful thing. Now, look, I say that briefly so we can have some proper teaching on this as we get into this. What happened today was, I was on a program where at the very end of it, I had a brief discussion with a man who called himself a captain in the Hebrew Israelite group known as the Isupk. And we were talking about some different stuff, and I made a comment about double tithing. But I was wrong. It doesn't look in a public way that Isupk demands double tithing, meaning 20% in essence. It seems that ICGJC Tazadakia was the only Hebrew Israelite group who did that. Do they still do that? It's unclear with the situation with Tazadakia's death due to COVID. But ISUPK does demand tithing, as we're going to see. In fact, if you look at the cover image for this live stream, you'll notice that it's a screenshot from their website about tithes, as they call it, right? Now, they don't want crops and fruit. They want your money. And you're going to see how they justify the way they go about it. So even though I was wrong that there's not a double tithe, ISUPK's attitude about giving is horrendous. Let's listen. And let's listen to the justification for it. Now, the first one's going to be audio. The next one's going to be video. Let's look at this.
ISUPK.
Men of Peace. You guys like that intro? That's their video. That's how it begins. So the title of this video, actually, let me give it to you briefly, is that ISUPK General Yohana should get your tithes, not Tazadakia, ICGJC. So they're specifically going after another Hebrew Israelite camp in this video and saying that Tazadakia should not be getting it, but General Yohana should. It's dated April 28, 2018. General Yohana is described as the commanding General Yohana over ISUPK. Now, here's what's interesting. By the way, look at all the stuff they have here in the front of the video. It's just utterly fascinating, isn't it? I don't have the sound on right now, but we'll turn it on. Don't worry. Now, here's what I want to show you. Tazadakia was getting double tithes. So it's interesting that Yohana has a video by his group where it says, I should be getting that, not Tazadakia. Well, Tazadakia was getting double tithes. So you don't want the double tithes, but you do want the tithes. You see what I'm saying? And part of this has to do with what you see on your screen. They describe themselves as the home of the truth. And so General Yohana is the only one who should be getting tithes. Now, listen to this audio. This is going to be fascinating.
My first question is about the tithes. About if I ain't mistaken, I ain't gonna say General Yohana was speaking about it, and I don't know if Priest Isupk was speaking about it, but they were speaking about where when you dealing with tithes, you don't have to necessarily give cash. You can also help your fellow brother and your fellow sister.
Okay. So Isupk, if they're talking about the same gentleman, is an old school OG vet from New York, and his situation is that he apparently was saying to the caller, and now you see people calling in asking questions, that it doesn't have to be cash. You could just help out a fellow Israelite brother. So that's House of Israel's position, according to this caller, in regards to giving. But listen to the response by ISUPK in regards to that.
Let me help you out with a couple of things. One, Isupk is not a priest. Okay.
Isupk is not a priest. So he's saying, hey, he's not supposed to be getting your tithe because the priest is who's supposed to be getting your tithe. Now, here's the thing. I want everyone to think carefully about this. If General Yohana is supposed to be getting your tithe, not Isupk, because Isupk is not a priest, then wouldn't that mean that General Yohana has to be a priest? You following so far? But here's the problem. General Yohana does not claim to be a Levite. He would have to be part Haitian, or Haitian on his father's side for that. And correct me if I'm wrong. And hey, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. Like I said, I was wrong by ISUPK charging double tithes. Apparently they don't do that. But if he's a Judahite, how can he demand tithes? Because he's not a priest either, because priests don't come from the tribe of Judah. They come from the sons of Aaron, the Levites. So why is Yohana saying he should be getting the tithe? Listen to this justification. And as this man speaking, his name is Kataza, as Kataza explains this, I want you to notice how this effectively supplants the priestly ministry of Jesus Christ with General Yohana. It's a substitution, and a poor one at that. Remember, ISUPK has a few titles for General Yohana. One is General. One is Commanding General Yohana. The other one is Second Only to Christ. That's one of his official bylines that he's given. Second Only to Christ. Keep that in mind as you listen to this clip.
That's number one.
Okay.
I know. I know I'm breaking a lot of hearts out there. You understand? You could tell him I said it. You could tell him Captain Katas I said that. Now, this
No,
is
I don't know him personally. It's
Hey,
just, you know,
somebody disconnect that.
well, I
Reconnect
first
that.
subscribed to you guys through Sinetta. And then,
okay, no, sir. But listen,
you know,
listen.
like,
We're gonna push
you know,
that
your-
to the side. We
you know,
we
time
gonna
connected
you might get like
Can you hear
other
me?
people that come on the time frame when you're dealing with YouTube, and then it's Isupk them and
Yeah,
etc.
they can
jumped
hear
on the scene.
brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is what I want you to know. Tithes was always for
Okay.
the priest. You understand? And the priest
Okay,
used
you
that
do it,
for the
yeah.
nation. There's nowhere in the scriptures where it's like tithes is
Yes, I was muted temporarily. Let me play this clip. I'm back.
give it to some random Israelite or something like that. You understand?
Okay.
Like straight up and down. From the very beginning, tithes has always been something that you give to the priest. You understand? So now I'm gonna
Notice, though, what he said here is, he said that the priests receive the tithes and then they distribute it out to the nation. That's backwards. The nation distributed tithes to the priests. Why? Because they weren't farmers, the priests. The priestly class had no way to this is essentially a subsidy, because their duty is to do religious duty, to do sacrifices, things like that. That's what the priests were to do. So how would they be supported financially? Israel gave a tithe that supported them. The priest's job wasn't then to take that and distribute it back out to the Israelites. That wasn't what they were to do with it. That's not what they were doing. By and large, that's not what happened. Now, in the New Testament, the apostles and the leaders of the church would receive offerings and would distribute that out. So notice how he's kind of mixing the covenants, but he has to do that to justify Yohana, who is said to be of Judah, not a Levite, so he's not a priest. And yet, supposedly, he gives all this money back, right? But why does it say commanding General Yohana is the one who should get your tithe? Why doesn't it say ISUPK should get your tithe? Notice how much it's a call to personality. Sorry about the sound earlier. I'll fix that later. Listen to this. He's going to explain the rationale. This is Captain Katas of the ISUPK.
one scripture to show that not only do we still pay tithes, but this is not something that you just, oh brother, you're down on your luck. You get what I'm saying? Here's 10% of my money. You understand? Tithes is a tax for the nation. It is a government tax. You understand? It is a tax that you give.
Is a government tax to the nation. Why is that important? Because the ISUPK claims they are the home of the truth, that Yahweh is not dealing with any other Israelite group, that commanding General Yohana is the only one who's supposed to be in charge of Israel. That's why you're only supposed to listen to them. So do you see what that's saying? It'd be like a church saying this is the only church in the world that you could give to and have it be legitimate. They're saying all other giving to other organizations is null and void.
the leaders and the governing body of Israel. And you know what we do with that money? We help the widows. You understand? You know what we do with that money? We help the fathers. You know what we do? We help pay child support. You know what we do? We help pay rent. You know what we do? We fix teeth. You know what we do? We keep lights on. You understand? And it is a law. You understand? Ma'ashara. That is a tenth in Hebrew. You understand? So now, with that being said, this is what I'm going to do.
That's what he's saying they do with it.
I'm going to go to Hebrews, the 7th chapter. So now what we're reading at is, this is from Melchizedek, king of Salem. Do you know who Melchizedek is?
I heard, but I haven't heard in depth.
Okay, when you read Genesis, the 14th chapter, you understand Abraham went to war with neighboring kings, you understand, who went and kidnapped his nephew Lot. Abraham took his servants, they went to war. After they went to war, he took all the spoils of war. Melchizedek made an appearance, you understand? And when Melchizedek made this appearance, Abraham gave him a tenth of all, not of the vegetables, not of this or okay. Back to the topic. Abraham gave him.
Now notice, if you go to the Old Testament, tithes are found in a number of places. Numbers 18, 21 through 24, Deuteronomy 14, 22 to 27, Deuteronomy 14, 20 to 28 to 29. You have a tithe for feast, tithe for poor, Levitical, sacred tithe. So maybe, it seems like he's mixing and matching some of these because there's sort of different ones. But he's going to Genesis. He's not going to the Mosaic Law to justify what ISUPK does. That's interesting.
Of every single thing that he gained, his increase and his earnings. So now, for this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all. You understand? Everything that he got. First being by interpreted king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace.
This is Abraham with spoils of war. That's what he's talking about. To try to justify that it's all.
Pull this shit back.
Which one?
Okay.
Damn, Google Hangouts.
It's Tiptronic. Like,
I hate Apple, man.
I love Apple. That's perfect. Anyway, so now back to the point. So it says, without father, without mother, having descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. But
this is how the book of Hebrews describes Melchizedek. And let me remind everybody of the reason why. The reason is because Jesus is from the tribe of Judah, yet he's described as our great high priest. He's the one who intercedes on our behalf. It's a priestly ministry, right? He's prophet, priest, and king. And the author of Hebrews is saying, well, how can Jesus be a high priest if he's not a descendant of Aaron? Because priests don't come from the tribe of Judah. They come from Aaron. That's what is happening, right? So that's why Hebrews is pointing to Melchizedek as sort of a type of Christ to say, yet Melchizedek, we don't have a record of his genealogy or anything like that, and yet Abraham, prior to the Mosaic Law, gave to him, which is something you would only do for priests. So the whole point of this passage in Hebrews is to show that Jesus is a legitimate priest. But look how they're using it.
Made like unto the Son of God, abideth the priest continually. Now, this is the argument that it's making in Hebrews, the 7th chapter. This is the New Testament, y'all. Now, consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. Now, the priesthood that we're under today is the priest is under the order of Melchizedek. You understand? So now, with that being said.
Now, that's true, isn't it? But who is the priest? It's Jesus Christ, not General Yohana. For this, Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him. And to him Abraham apportioned a tenth part of everything. He is first, by translation of his name, king of righteousness, so he's equating him with Jesus there. And then he also is king of Salem, that is, king of peace. He is without father or mother or genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. He's saying, like Christ. But resembling the Son of God, he continues a priest forever. So Jesus does as well. See how great this man was, to whom Abraham the patriarch gave a tenth of the spoils. So the emphasis is on the greatness of Melchizedek. And those descendants of Levi, notice that, according to them, it's Haitians, who receive the priestly office have a commandment in the law to take tithes from the people, that is, from their brothers, though these also are descended from Abraham. But this man who does not have his descent from them, because he's before Israel, received tithes from Abraham and blessed him who had the promises. It is beyond dispute that the inferior is blessed by the superior. In the one case, tithes are received by mortal men, but in the other case, by one of whom it is testified that he lives. One might even say that Levi himself, who receives tithes, paid tithes through Abraham, for he was still in the loins of his ancestor when Melchizedek met him. It's a bit allegorical, but this is the argument that's being made under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Now, if perfection had been attainable through the Levitical priesthood, indicating it's not, indicating the old covenant is not here, and that it also is inferior to the new covenant. For under it the people receive the law. What further need would there have been for another priest to arise after the order of Melchizedek, rather than one named after the order of Aaron? For when there is a change in the priesthood, there is necessarily a change in the law as well. That one verse destroys the legalism that ISUPK puts forward. For the one of whom these things are spoken belonged to another tribe, from which no one has ever served at the altar. For it is evident that our Lord was descended from Judah, and in connection with that tribe Moses said nothing about priests. Notice this is really greater than Mosaic law, and even before it indeed. This becomes even more evident when another priest, and it's not Yohana. Who is the other priest? It's Jesus Christ, man. When another priest arises in the likeness of Melchizedek, to me that indicates it's not literally Melchizedek. I know people said that, but I think that translated Hebrews 7:15, another priest arises in the likeness of Melchizedek, indicates Jesus is not literally Melchizedek, who has become a priest not on the basis of a legal requirement concerning bodily descent. Ooh, Hebrew Israelites don't like that, but by the power of an indestructible life. That's the resurrection, amen. For witnessed of him, you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. There, the author of Hebrews is applying Old Testament scripture to Jesus Christ, specifically Psalm 110, verse 4. For on one hand, a former commandment is set aside. Do you hear that? Because of its weakness and uselessness, for the law made nothing perfect. But on the other hand, a better hope is introduced through which we draw near to God. Do you see this? And it was not without an oath. For those who formerly became priests were made such without an oath. But this one was made a priest with an oath by the one who said to him, the Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever. This makes Jesus the guarantor of a better covenant. Verse 24, the former priests were many in number because they were prevented by death from continuing in office. But he holds his priesthood permanently because he continues forever. So who's the priest? It's Jesus, and that's all we need. Consequently, he's able to save to the uttermost those who draw near to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. For it was indeed fitting that we should have such a high priest, holy, innocent, unstained, separated from sinners, and exalted above the heavens. He has no need, like those high priests, to offer sacrifices daily, first for his own sins and then for those of the people. By the way, that verse is against Hebrew Israelism too, because they teach Jesus. GMS teaches this, especially. Was reincarnated. Partially, Adam is in there and Solomon is in there inside Jesus, and so he has to pay for his own sins first. GMS teaches that. Jesus had to pay for his own sins on the cross first. First for his own sins and then for those of the people. Since he did this once for all when he offered up himself. For the law appoints men in their weaknesses as high priests, but in the word of the oath which came later than the law appoints a son who has been made perfect forever. And Hebrews 8 continues on that. Now, I want to show this. This is very important. Listen to what he's going to say. Hey, thank you, Yakazuk Mendoza. Shout out to you. Glad to have you around.
That's what I want to know. Brother, are you better than Abraham?
Am I better than Abraham? Abraham is the father of Isaac and Jacob. I don't think I'm better than Abraham. I don't think Abraham better than me. I don't.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me help you out.
Right?
Let me help you out. Let me help you out.
Okay.
You are not better than Abraham. You understand?
Okay.
Just like you don't outrank your father.
Notice the condescending tone of Kataza. Imagine if I taught like this. You know, but notice how he's asking and putting pressure on this way, just so this man will start tithing to ISUPK.
What I'm saying,
Right.
like you're not going to sit there and say, well, he's my brother because he's an Israelite. He's my no. That's your father. You understand?
That's fascinating, Kataza. How is Abraham our father? You're right, Abraham's our father. How is Abraham our father? In what way is Abraham our father? He's a father of faith. Did you know that? He's a father of faith. That's the way that Abraham is our father. He's a father of faith. Let me show you something here. It's crazy how much Hebrew Israelism cuts itself just when its proponents quote the Bible. Romans chapter 4. What then shall we say was gained by Abraham, our forefather according to the flesh? Now watch this. For if Abraham was justified by works, he has something to boast about, but not before God. For what does the scripture say? Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him as righteous. Now to the one who works, his wages are not counted as a gift, but as his due. And to the one who does not work, but believes in him who justifies the ungodly, his faith is counted as righteous. Just as David also speaks of the blessing of the one to whom God counts righteousness apart from works. Blessed are those whose lawless deeds are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man against whom the Lord will not count his sin. Now listen to this. Is this blessing then only for the circumcised or also for the uncircumcised? That means Jew and Gentile. For we say that faith was counted to Abraham as righteousness. How then was it counted to him? Was it before or after he had been circumcised? It was not after, but before he was circumcised. He received the sign of circumcision as a seal of the righteousness that he had by faith while he was still uncircumcised. The purpose was to make him the father of all who believe. So how is Abraham our father? He's the father of all who believe. So unless you believe who Jesus said he is. Romans 10:9-10, if you can continue on, this book is a great example, that he rose again on the third day. Unless you believe that, you're really not a child of Abraham. And that's what Jesus was saying to the Pharisees. John 8, you're a child of the devil. I can make stones do these praises, you know what I mean? You see Galatians 4, Paul says, hey, it's actually, you know, it's those who are in Christ who are Abraham's sons. You see that? The purpose was to make him the father of all who believe without being circumcised, so that righteousness would be counted to them as well. And to make him the father of the circumcised, who are not merely circumcised, but also walk in the footsteps of the faith that our father Abraham had before he was circumcised. And you continue on, and you see that Abraham is the father of us all via the pattern of faith. The rest of the argument says that. But let's continue on playing this, because watch what they do.
Like we all have to give reverence to our fathers, but this isn't any father. This is the patriarch. You understand?
Yeah.
So with that being said, you understand? If Abraham paid tithes, who the hell are we not to pay tithes?
Yes, we are to give. But what does Johanna and Isupk have to do with Melchizedek? Nothing! They have nothing to do with Melchizedek. By the way, I don't mind One Body, One Nation being here for now. We'll keep an eye on them, you know, but it's just like whatever. Nothing.
You understand? And he paid tithes before there was a Levite. And that's the priesthood that we're under now. Now, if Abraham
wasn't paying.
That's the priesthood order now. Yes, if you're talking about Jesus, but these guys are talking about General Johanna? Second only to Christ, according to them?
Tithes, you know, to a church, though, right?
Abraham paid tithes to a high priest. You get what I'm saying?
Now,
this is what I'm trying to tell you. The only priesthood on the face of the earth today is the Isupk.
Ooh! Did you hear that? Now, some of you out there wonder why I go so hard against the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. It's because of garbage like this. These cultic organizations of the One West variety literally put themselves in the place of Jesus. So I know it's late, and I know that I was wrong about the double tithe, but listen to this. Did you hear what he just said? I just read to you, Jesus is the high priest.
High priest. You get what I'm saying? Now, this is what I'm trying to tell you. The only priesthood on the face of the earth today is the Isupk. Right. You understand? Now, if you want to go and get hustled and scammed or
he's going to use this next section to throw ICGJC under the bus.
Tazadakia, a new Benz van, and send his kids to private school, then you go there. But if you want to fix your nation, you're going to give 10% to Command and General Johanna.
not to ISUPK, to General Yohana, commanding General Yohana. These groups are called.
Right.
We understand each other?
Yeah.
Most High in Christ. Captain.
Completely. Matt, can I give
wait.
you another question?
Yes. Please.
Yeah, this is the last question.
I want to ask Captain Catazar. I know you were just talking to me, but I want to ask. I know Captain Cesariak is strong to the fullest, and I know you is too, Captain Catazar. But I want to ask you.
There's Commanding General Yohana, ladies and gentlemen. You see him? Look, see Commanding General Yohana. See it on your screen there? There he is. And you guys sometimes wonder where I get the One West terminology. You see it? It was right there on the screen. Here's all their schools. But you know, that's not all ISUPK teaches about tithes. I've got another video. This video is horrible. I always have trouble remembering this gentleman's name. But you are not going to be ready for this. You're not going to be ready for this. How ISUPK talks about tithing and the things that they say. You just aren't going to be ready for this. The title of this video that I'm about to play, Lord help me, Lord help us all, and I mean it, is actually Your Tithes Belong to General Yohana and no one else. It's the law. Just so you can... you know what? Let me show on the screen, just so you know. You guys don't. Well, what are you talking about, vocab? Here, let me move my self over here. All right. See the title of the video? Your tithes belong to General Yohana and no one else. It's the law. February 5th, 2020. See that? And look at some of these other ones. Husbands and wives, paying your tithes is a matter of loyalty. Loyalty to who, by the way? The cultic organization. Yeah. How to get riches and rank according to the law. Tithes. The way to get riches and rank, which that's what life's all about, right? Is to tithe. This is the One West prosperity gospel. ISPK General Yohana should get your tithes, not Tazadakia. I just read that one. These groups are jealous of each other's money. ISPK No Cowards Online Class Live, Law Class Liquor Ties, and Controlling the Hood. And when they do feed somebody, look who gets the glory. ISUPK Food Drive. Commanding General Yohana feeds the community. Man, Commanding General Yohana, he's feeding the community. So you see who gets the glory here, all right? Now, this is the video we're going to watch. You guys ready? Thank you, GSD Godly from San Diego with the super chat. All right, here we go. Here's another class. I put myself on their TV screen. We are going to go into an hour and 27 in this video. And I believe this gentleman is in charge of the Philly camp. Okay. 1 hour and 27. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? So everyone needs to listen to this. We are going to watch this. It's a good portion of this. And yes, I'm going to give some commentary. And there are some swear words. I don't think it's in this section. It's later on. But here we go.
The Lord sends us out as sheep among wolves.
He's talking about ISUPK now.
You get my point? Like, we are kind and decent people, and we would never cheat anyone out of a penny at all.
We are kind and decent people. But watch later how he talks about a woman who left ISUPK. He's saying we're kind and decent people, but I want you to remember that when I play these clips later on about how he talks about this woman, right?
But the Lord sends us here among filthy, traitorous bastards. That's why I came in tonight. I was sick tonight. And I was going to go ahead and lay the hell down and hit that gym tomorrow and have a wonderful time. Go to sleep from now until it's time to go to the gym. That was my plan, Maya. I was going to go to sleep right now and wake up gym time. But then someone sent me a text message saying that they gave a donation to the Israelite School of UPK for $1,200, and they wanted that donation back.
So this is a person who used to be part of ISUPK, gave a donation and wanted it back. Now, I agree that yeah, that's like, you gave. It's done. But listen to how they handled it.
I could feel the sickness leave me. It was like the power. I read it. I said, "What?" First of all, Murad, give me a video of any church where some woman goes into the church and says, "Give me the money back that my grandmama gave you."
It's funny he says some woman. Why specific?
Those videos are all over the place, right? I read this text message, brother, and the anger healed me of my sickness.
What? What are we listening to? The anger healed me of my sickness. What kind of moral perversion do you have to think your anger heals you of sickness? This is the ISUPK. This is why we have to come against these groups' bad teaching. So they may not teach double tithes, but listen to all this other stuff.
I was healed. This is why I was healed. The fact that anyone would ever think that we would ever give you one goddamn penny.
I told you there was going to be cursing. I just didn't know it was there. One GD penny. They think it's okay to take the Lord's name in vain that way.
Blows my mind. We're not Christians. Listen
Amen.
carefully, everyone. If you ask for $1 back or a quarter, we would never give it to you ever. Do you understand? We take that quarter and we drop it in a poor person's cup outside of Dunkin' Donuts. But we would never.
Not if they're white or African, though. Tazaryak once said that he's glad whenever he sees a white or African homeless man because of their role in the slave trade. So maybe he would give that quarter to somebody, but they couldn't be white or African.
Give you one penny of money back that you donated to the school. And when I say a penny, raise your hand if you think I'm exaggerating. I am not exaggerating. I mean coins. We would never give you coins. Never. Because the Israelite school of UPK is so kind and decent and holy.
So decent.
The fact that anyone would attempt to steal from us absolutely drives me to an anger I don't want to have.
But it heals you.
That's what that is, an attempt to steal from the Israelite school of UPK. You can't ask for donations back in America, you dumbass. You can't go to when you go donate your blood, go say, I want my blood back. I donated all that blood to you. Go ask when you go put money in that thing for the Santa Claus, when they bring in that ring every Christmas, and you go put $1 in the Santa Claus pot. Go say, listen, Santa, I'm mad at you now. I don't like you anymore. I want my $1 back. And see if the Salvation Army.
I'm just listen to this.
We'll give you $2 back that you put in that thing. Rest assured, the UPK won't give you anything either. Nothing. We will never understand this. When you pay your tithes, you're never getting it back again. If you ask for it back, I'm going to see you. If you ask. If I have a dream that night. Listen
to this. This is why I don't understand how self-respecting men and women can join this group. He just said, if I have a dream that night, I gotta go back just a little bit. I just gotta go back just a little bit here. It's like, come on, man. Listen what he says. He's gonna say, if I have a dream that night. Just listen. Listen closely.
I donated all that blood to you. Go ask when you go put money in that thing for the Santa Claus, when they bring in that ring every Christmas, and you go put $1 in the Santa Claus pot. Go say, listen, Santa, I'm mad at you now. I don't like you anymore. I want my $1 back. And see if the Salvation Army will give you $2 back that you put in that thing. Rest assured, the UPK won't give you anything either. Nothing. We will never understand this. When you pay your tithes, you're never getting it back again. If you ask for it back, I'm going to see you. If you ask. If I have a dream that night and think that you want money back that you gave to school, you're going to be in counsel and answer for it. Am I making myself clear?
If I have a dream that you ask for money back, you're going to be in counseling.
I will never, ever give it back. I would rather spend $10,000 in court than to give you $1. Who, raise your hand if you think I'm joking? Everyone knows I'm not joking. I would rather do it. It's money better spent than giving it to some psychopath, somebody with bipolar disorder and manic depressive disorder.
He's talking about this lady who left ISUPK. This, again, displays the cultic, wicked behavior of the ISUPK. So in the context of talking about a lady who asked for tithe back, which I do agree with him in a certain sense, that is an unreasonable request. Now, honestly, if I was an ISUPK, right, let's say I was like, hey, actually, my dad's an Ephraimite, and I got in there before they knew who I was, and I realized it was false later, I asked for that money back because I'm like, whoa, I just donated to a cult. But at the same time, his point stands, hey, you donated, whatever. So, okay. But listen to what he says in the context of this. He's talking about a lady, a real person. And listen what he says about her. It's going to get worse, by the way.
And I would love to let a judge see you anyway, so a judge can see you go in some courtroom and know you're a lunatic, and know you are psychotic and you have bipolar disorder and manic depressive disorder and every other stinking disorder that we love you with, regardless of.
Yeah, they really loved her. Can't you tell how much they loved her? This is cultic love. We love you when you do what we tell you to do, and then when we don't, we talk trash about you. Tell everyone you have disorders.
We took care of you with and stayed up night after night helping you. I would never, ever, ever give you 1 penny back of your tithes. All tithes are non-refundable and tax deductible. Anybody gets that? I'll give you a few precepts if you need it. Of course, it's in the Bible. I can hit you over your dumbass head with about 10 precepts if you need me to. Why don't I just go ahead? Ahmad, go ahead.
Yes, like if I could, would be good to use Judas, he sold Christ out for the money. Then when he figured out he did was wrong, he tried to give the money.
Then he tried to give the money back. This has happened only twice since 1969. This is the second time. One time it happened before, and both times was a woman that was mad at her man.
Hear that? So he's saying that he knows of this exact situation has only happened one other time, and it was when a woman was mad at a man. It's going to get crazier.
Both times. Since 1969, the UPK has only been asked for tithes or donations back twice. Both times was a woman mad at her man. Mad at her man because, and when a woman gets mad at you, there's a kind of woman out that when she is mad at you, there is nothing she will not do. Nothing. And you're mad at her.
Listen to how casually he discusses what he's about to discuss. You got to understand, this is a class. Imagine going to church, to Bible class. Now, I've been to some Bible studies that, frankly, were a waste of time. The teacher wasn't prepared. They didn't know what they were talking about. But imagine going to church, and this is what you're talking about at church. Just imagine. Listen to this.
And you think you might smack her across her face and punch her in the head and be completely violent and evil towards her. And everybody will go, man, ooh, that was terrible. You should go to jail for that. Brother, you don't understand what she will do to you. You don't even quite get it, You don't even quite get it. When she's mad at you, she'll punch herself in the face. You understand? She'll get mad at you, and she'll take a hammer and hit herself in the head, punch herself in the face, rip her clothes off, and call the police. That's crazy. I can see hitting somebody else, but me hitting my damn self.
I could see hitting somebody else. I bet you could.
The concept I can't quite get. Go ahead.
Down the steps.
Yeah, that's true.
The guy says, yeah, I know the case where a woman threw herself down the steps.
Over the banister, down the steps. Why? To get him back. You understand? To make him pay. You think, you think you got muscles and you can hit a woman and that's scary. It is not scary. It is not scary to her. Because her mind thinks, Esau, and when I say this, notice I'm not saying black women, right? Here's the myth. The myth is that this is a trait of black women. That's a lie. This is a female trait. The white man in his poetry said, hell hath no fury.
Thanks for the clarification. He's a misogynist across all ethnic groups. He just wants you to know here that, hey, guys, I'm not just talking about black women. And it's funny, he says black women. I thought Hebrew Israelism, it's not black Israelism. He doesn't mention Native American, Hispanic, but I guess he's saying the stereotype is just that. There's so much confusion here. But he's like, hey, this is all women in general. This is everybody. If Jabari's concerned about misogyny, I think he's got a new target he should look at.
Man, that she would ever do. Danielle, you had your hand up.
Even though it's a movie, like that movie, Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
He's talking about a woman doing what he's talking about in a movie. Imagine this is your Bible study. Watch what he says.
A movie? Listen, that is common every day. That's normal. She'll punch herself and throw herself over a banister. I can tell you some bad stories. I'm trying to measure it to see if I can tell you some
He's speaking
bad
measured here.
In a minute, I'm going to tell you this story about this person and tell everybody.
In a minute, I'm going to tell you about this person. I'm going to tell everything. I'm going to tell everybody. This is how they deal with former members.
About every possible thing that I know about her, all over the world. I'll do that in a second. Once I can be assured General Yohana is asleep or something. I'll go ahead and do that.
What a weird thing to say. He said, I'm going to put this woman on blast, everybody. I'm going to tell you everything I know about her, but I'm going to do it once I know General Yohana is asleep. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty or nice. Like, what? The judgment of God is not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about Yohana. It seems like Yohana is behind these tactics, by the way, because this is a ranking guy here in Philly.
Now I will not do that. But I will tell you this. Don't ever try to steal from the UPK, because we do nothing but give to you. That's all we do all day is give and give and give and help you and pay your rent and give you counsel, and you don't even pay tithes all the time or at all. And we give and give and help you and give. I better not hear about y'all not paying these fines either.
Do you hear what he just said? I better not hear about y'all not paying these fines either. So he's having a discussion about tithes with a former member that he's thrown under the bus. Now he talks about fines. So yes, ISPK doesn't double tithe. That was ICGJC's policy. But they charge you fines. In the ISUPK, you can get fined for misbehavior. Does everyone hear that?
Found out somebody didn't pay a fine, brother. I'm telling you, brother, you're going to see the other side. You get a fine in here, you better pay it. You better be faithful, man. You better be loyal. And the Passover is coming too. I would love to have a purge in here.
The Passover is coming. I would love to have a purge. Is this the way an elder, a faithful shepherd of God's flock would speak? You know, we're about to celebrate Passover, which, by the way, you don't need to do anymore because Christ is our Passover. But we're going to celebrate some mockery of a Passover. I mean, it's not as bad as Sakari's, but still. I would love to have a purge. I'd love to kick people out right before Passover. That's what he's going to say.
Make me so happy to purge out anyone who is not fit to come to that Passover and stand next to loyal and decent, faithful people.
So anger heals him, he said earlier. And what makes him happy and brings him joy? To kick people out of the ISUPK.
We got our children running around that Passover. I don't want the old schizophrenic, bipolar bitch to sit up in the Passover.
He's talking about the lady that's been removed who's asking for her money back. Did you hear what he just said about her?
People's kids running around. Right. I got to get rid of her now so that she never comes to the Passover so babies can be safe. Right.
What? What does her having these disorders supposedly have to do with your children being safe? These guys will say anything to justify their actions. So I'm doing this for the children. It's for the children why I've got to kick this schizophrenic B word out.
At the Passover, who is trying to watch their back? No one. No one is watching their back. Don't anybody even know where their kids are at the Passover. I don't know where mines are. They somewhere. I don't know where my kids at. They somewhere around here somewhere. I don't know. I don't think about it. Why? Because my brothers are there. Because my sisters are taking care of my children. Because my loved ones are at the Passover. I don't think about protecting my kids at the Passover. Nah. But if we allow traitors and schizophrenics and bipolar bitches to come to the Passover, then you better watch your kids, because you don't know what she might do.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
If you allow some brother that's a drug addict fiend to come to the Passover, then you better watch your kids, because we don't know what he might do. It is our responsibility as officers to make this school a sanctuary, a place of safety.
Sounds real safe if you got a disorder.
To do that, you got to get rid of people that refuse to be loved. There are people that cannot be loved. Let me give you the type. The Bible says, cast out the storm.
Okay, we're going to stop there and go to this next section. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? This is ISUPK, and the topic that we're covering tonight is how they deal with tithes. And in the context of that, you're hearing lots of other things as well. And this is another example. And so maybe they don't ask for double tithes, but look at what they do. This is bad business. This is bad. Listen to this. Listen to this, everybody. You ready?
Focus on your voice and not the demon's voice.
He is going to say that he's going to talk about the way that they get people into the school and help people in a second here. It's so bizarre. This is just cultic tactics, the stuff he's talking about. The more you know about cults, you realize, oh, this is just cultic stuff that this man's talking about.
And you'll be shocked how many of them will choose the voice of God. It comes out of your mouth. They'll choose it. Not all do. Some choose it, and then the demon comes back, and they listen to the demon. Some of them won't. But, brother, you can win plenty of souls, brother, with chastising them. The UPK is built on this, man. The UPK is built on getting checked.
The UPK is built on getting checked, and apparently getting checks.
The things that you would not be checked for in church, you get checked for in here. That's the school. That's the school in a nutshell. And just things that are allowed and people ignore, people don't worry about. We worry about everything.
Listen to this next section. This is really bizarre. Listen closely.
This is the UPK, and we do not mind our business. You understand, right? We do not mind our business in here. In here, we mind your business. And it's simply that. Now, I'm making it simple, but of course I know, and I'm not fool enough to not recognize that without the power of the Most High, none of this is possible. The Lord works in us, minding your business, getting involved in your life and what you do and how you have sex and what you smoke and what you drink and where you go to party and what you do at home. We don't mind our business, but the Most High is with us. You understand, correct? So you want to just see getting checked, all right? Anything else? Questions?
Yep.
Why the bar?
You ready for the next part? This is the last section we're going to go to, everybody. And again, I know it's a late broadcast, but since this happened today, this just happened today, where I was talking to a man who's described as a captain of the ISUPK. And in my critique of them, just saying things offhand, I said, charging the double tithe. And then I realized later I couldn't confirm that really more is an ICGJ practice, ICGJC practice. But in the course of looking more about what the ISUPK teaches about tithings, as I call it, I found some incredibly distressful material. So now that's what we're looking at. And here's the last section we're going to play. Are you guys ready to hear this? And this is towards the end of the video at 2 hours and 16 minutes in is the part we're going to listen to right now. Here we go.
That was his question. That's his answer. You just look up wormwood and there you go. All right. Anything else? Let me get my precept. Do you have this right here?
Go
ahead and play. And then everyone else go to Micah. What did I ask for earlier? Micah 1 and 4. So why am I bringing this up? Just for time's sake. This is a sister that used to be in the school, She got mad at her husband.
So he's back to talking about this lady who wrote a check for $1,200 or whatever and now wants the money back. I don't think it was a check. I don't know. They didn't say it was cash or check. But he's back to talking about her, and listen to what he says.
Did it at the perfect time because it's right before the Passover. And I would like everyone who is a disgusting, lying thief to expose themselves now before the Passover, so that you cannot come to the Passover and no one has to worry about their children around you. And this happened, and I really want to thank her for that, because that is absolutely enjoyable to me, that something like this could happen. And so she's sitting.
What kind of person enjoys when people fall away so he perceives this as truth in the faith? Why would you enjoy it? There's some sadistic tendencies in One West Hebrewism, and specifically in ISUPK.
A text message today saying that she wanted back a $1,200 donation that she donated to the school. And she wanted this donation used to help a specific school, and that's what that donation was for. And I thought to myself, this bitch must be out of her goddamn mind to even say something like that to us. Some of y'all think we're Christian. I see that when y'all leave the truth. Y'all think we're Christian and that we give a damn about what you think. When we don't. We don't care. And I need you to understand that, especially sisters in America, so many times because of church, and most women are exposed to God through church. And you think because of church, you pay your tithes and you pay your donations, and because of that, the church respects you and cares about what you think.
Listen to this.
When the UPK does not care about what you think or respect you.
UPK doesn't respect you. Just want everybody to know before they join the UPK and those who are currently in it. The ISUPK does not care about you and does not respect what you think.
We don't care. We don't care about some bitch and what she wants done with the money she donates. We could care less. I know you're preaching.
That's not the correct way. It's I couldn't care less, just so everyone knows. Because if you could care less, that means you could care less than you currently do. It's I couldn't care less, which is the maximum amount of not caring.
Your preacher tells you, oh, sisters, God bless you. And your preacher wants your money. And because he wants your
you're the one saying that General Yohana is the only one who can receive tithes in all of Israel. Who wants whose money? What is this? This hypocrisy is insane.
Money, he lies to you. And he gives you a false sense of importance. In the UPK, we do not give you a false sense of importance. You can take you and your schizophrenic money and get the F out of here. Who cares? We don't placate to women in the UPK.
We don't placate to women in UPK. Again, notice how it's very specific there. You know? Yep. Okay.
We don't do that. Not in here. We'd rather starve and be righteous than bow down to some bitch and what she wants done with her money. A lot of you brothers are going to become servants come tax season. Oh, boy. Tax time is coming. You're going to be in there being the best husband in the world for tax money? You forget, you got brothers up. Don't be in there being some bitch's lap boy because of tax money. What, so you can buy a PlayStation 10 or whatever number it's on by now? You can get your brakes fixed, right? You need your brakes done in your car. So you're going to go in there and be the best boyfriend in the world. You can forget that. In the UPK, we do not bend or compromise for anyone at all. And so this bitch said she wants her money spent for a particular thing. Please believe we don't give a damn about what you want.
Shout out to MJ Jackson. Everybody subscribe to his channel, please. And thank you, MJ Jackson, for bringing the tithe into the storehouse, my friend.
We don't care about what you want, nor do we ask you what you want. You give a donation, you're stupid for even saying this money is for this. You out of your damn mind. Who asked you? We'll take your money and give it all to a homeless brother so he can get off of drugs, get himself an apartment. We'll take your $1,200 and give it to one brother in the state of Alabama so that brother can get a school, get his kids, get his lawyers to get out so he can get his kids back. We'll pay for the lawyers so he can go to fight for custody of his children. We'll do that with your money. You don't tell us what to do with the tithes. Why? Because tithes are not yours. And no one is asking you. You're being told to hand over your money.
Creflo Dollar would be proud.
Done. No one asked you. No one asked for your opinion on how it's to be spent. It's a shock that anybody would even say, I'm giving out this $20. This is for cups. Bitch, this is for whatever we feel like doing with it. You just hand it over. Give it up. You know why you're giving it up? Because you know that this place you're giving it to is the only reason you're not in jail.
Now listen to this. I have heard from former members that when you talk about leaving, they basically make these implicit threats like God is going to let something happen to you. He makes explicit threats about people leaving and God's going to let something happen to them. Listen to what he's about to say. This is what I'm saying. I'm not ashamed to call ISUPK a cult. They are certainly a cult. General Yohana is a cult leader, and everything this man is saying displays classic characteristics of a cultic group. Understand, everyone, I see some of the comments in the live chat, and I really want to have an audience who starts to really understand what we're doing when we go up against as Christians with Hebrew Israelism. And so to the audience, if you really don't know a lot about Hebrew Israelism, just be guarded in your comments until you know something. Some of you know what's going on. I want to have an educated, precise audience. So I see like some comments that are like just jokes or insults, and I get it. We can all act that way, whatever. But I want you to start to really understand the differences between the groups in Hebrew Israelites. I've been doing this long enough that an educated audience should start to understand. Here's who this person is. Here's who this group is. Here's who they are. We need to do this so we understand the lay of the land, so we can know what we're dealing with, so we can help people to escape this kind of cult. ISPK is a specific group with specific practices and teachings, and I'm taking them on tonight, and I'm going to do more later. And it's decidedly wicked, as you can hear. Please pay attention, learn the differences, and let us really get precise in our critique of their doctrines.
Right. And that's a fact. Right. So many of you, we're keeping out of jail. You're going to go to jail soon. You're going to be in prison soon.
You hear that? He's saying if you leave, what's going to happen is because God's hand's going to be taken off you. You're going to be in jail or prison.
Count these words and see if I'm a prophet of God. You're going to be in jail. You're going to be in a mental institution. We're keeping you out of it. The minute we stop, you're going in.
What? Do you hear this, people? Do you hear this? So forget about, do they require double tithes? Listen to all this other madness in a discussion about tithes by these men. Man.
You're going to see that God is with this house. Give me Malachi 1:4. Go ahead and read it. You got to go fast. Go.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom
Wait, I
said,
got to play this damn video. Marab, go ahead.
oh my God.
Mayaka, we good to go? Go. This is
No peace in this house of worship.
No, this is when they ask for an offering. That's the difference. I want one where they gave money to the.
So now they're trying to watch videos of the Christian church in this regard. And this is why it's fair game to criticize them on these practices. Because this is what they also do with the Christian church, you know? So there's about 10 minutes left of this part of the video. So hang in there. Let's check this out. Watch this.
Bipolar disordered lunatic hours. hours and hours. And somewhere in the hours, I say, do you pay your tithes? No, I haven't been working regularly. I don't pay my tithes. And I keep going and teaching and helping for hours and hours. And I just thank the Lord that they didn't leave the truth so I can get some damn rest.
I thank the Lord that they left the truth. Who would say such a thing?
So many of you, I just wish you would just leave the truth.
So many of you, I wish you would just leave the truth. The heart of a shepherd, ever present in ISUPK.
And I've been so happy. Oh, no, this is the answer to prayers. The minute you start getting high and dead, and you go get locked up in jail, and you go back to the world and die. So then now, those hours can be given to someone who actually can appreciate it.
Did you hear what he just said? I'm going to rewind this. He said, I'm happy. It's an answer to prayer when you get in debt, locked up in jail, or die. Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said?
You're going to see that God is with this house. Give me Malachi 1:4.
So, again, the context is ISUPK talking about a lady who left their organization and wanted her tithe money back, which they teach that only General Yohana is the one who deserves tithe because he is the only appropriate leader. That's why he's commanding General Yohana. And ISUPK is the home of the truth. They're the only legitimate Hebrew Israelite organization, the leaders of Israel. Commanding General Yohana, one of his bylines he goes with is second only to Christ. They teach that now we are under the Melchizedek priesthood. And that's true in regards to Jesus. He holds the Melchizedek priesthood because he's not a Levite, and his intercession is once for all, and it's done. Hebrews 7:8 contain this argument, fascinating passage. But they say it's because the ISUPK is the only priest upon the earth, right? And specifically centered on General Yohana. Now, he's been discussing this lady. He's been talking about her disorders and saying all kinds of crazy stuff and saying that if you leave the truth, bad stuff's going to happen to you. And yet he's praying that people will do so. So I want to rewind all that so you can understand the context. Now listen.
And I keep going and teaching and helping for hours and hours. And I just thank the Lord that they didn't leave the truth so I can get some damn rest.
Listen.
So many of you, I just wish you would just leave the truth. And I've been so happy. Oh, no, this is the answer to prayers. The minute you start getting high and dead, and you go get locked up in jail, and you go back to the world and die. So then now, those hours can be given to someone who actually can appreciate it. Someone who cares.
I'm so happy. It's an answer to prayer the minute you get high in debt, get locked up, or go back to the world and die. What? ICPK. Not charging double tithes, charging double tithes is the least of your worries.
Rest assured, there are people in the UPK, brother, that appreciate the good work that's given to them. Give yourselves a hand.
Give yourselves a hand.
There are people in here that I have counseled for 6-7 hours at a time, and I haven't wasted a second.
Can you imagine spending 6 or 7 hours with this guy counseling you this way? Shout out to a former Hebrews Delight. Georges, what's up, bro? We will, and thank you for the support, bro.
It's absolutely valuable, and it's important. And the few people, and it's a few, and I say, once again, only 2 people in the history of the school have ever asked for a donation back that they've given. So that's so rare. Everyone else is just a loyal sister, man. A loyal brother, man. Just cares about their nation and sees the righteous work being done in the UPK. And I commend you for it. And I will make this house clean so that you can look at everyone in the Passover, everyone in class, and trust that they love the Lord the way you do. You can drop that. Give me Malachi 1:4.
Because I'm kicking people out.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom said, we are empowered, but
1 and 7.
Oh God, verse 7.
Shout out to Andy also for the super chat. Thank you, brother. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There's a lot of clip-worthy clips in this show, meaning we should take little parts and put them out on social media. There's a lot of clip-worthy parts, I think, here that would really open up people's eyes.
Where is my honor?
Read that again.
A son honors his father,
The Lord said a son honors his father. Go ahead.
and a servant his master.
And a servant honors his master. Go ahead.
If then I be a father,
If I am a father, if I have given you what a father gives a child, go ahead.
where is my honor?
And where the F is my honor?
This guy is paraphrasing the Bible and literally says, where the F is my honor? Why? What is the, who? So bizarre.
Where is it? Who has taken care of you the way the UPK has? Raise your hand if you have ever had to ask the school for money and you've been given that money. Raise your hand. Boy, it's everybody in the room. You understand? Everybody in the room. If you've been treated like a son and a daughter, then why aren't you treating us like a father? Seeing you call us when your rent is behind and you are giving money.
This is just guilt trip. This is literally, we remember in the beginning we read, don't give under compulsion. This is guilt tripping. This is classic cultic manipulative tactics. This is exactly what they do. David Koresh, you can watch old videos of him. The sacrifice of the study I pour out for you, and no one respects the prophet. This is what is being done here.
You're giving help and you're giving counsel. What do you think would happen to your marriage if not for us?
What do you think would happen to your marriage if not for us? So you're out of jail, you're out of debt, and you're not dead, and your marriage is safe because of ISUPK. Kwam Yasharallah, all praises due to ISUPK.
What do you think would happen to your children if not for us? If we're being fathers to you, then why aren't you treating us like fathers?
What would happen to your children if not for us? What's that mean?
That's in the Bible, man. And that comes from America. America teaches you to not give your authority figure the honor it should. You give basketball players and rappers authority over your damn life.
Yeah, it's funny they say that. But if you have a white parent, they teach that they're a devil and they're going to be enslaved and killed and stuff. And you can call them that and you should cut off all ties from them. If you have a white mother, we've seen this with Al-Azhar. ISUPK has a similar doctrine. Yet he's talking about honoring your father or mother. Well, mainly father, but really he's just saying honor us. That's what he's really getting at.
And strippers, the authority over your life. But the people who actually,
Talking about Sakari there.
who you actually depend on to survive.
You depend on us to survive. You need me. You need me. I complete you. You depend on us to survive.
People you give no honor to. You're going to give honor in here. Because that a brother called Captain Mawakwad called me today, Lord love him. He asked me for a scripture because someone was saying they should not have to pay $100 for the Passover.
Now listen to this. This is why I included this section. So I mentioned in the show today I said basically it might end up your double tithe because you got to pay other stuff, such as for the Passover. But to a certain extent, I get it. If they want to go celebrate the Passover and there's stuff they're doing, okay, you can ask them to pay. But watch the way he's going to totally disrespect IUIC in this. I just found this. I wanted to watch stuff on their tithing to see if what I had received about double tithing and ISPK was accurate. It seems like that is not accurate, so I made a mistake, which I apologize for. But now we're looking at what they do teach. And in this context of this video that I just found, because I just watched it tonight, he is going to talk about IUIC, and listen what he says. He refers to them in an incredibly offensive way. Shout out to EC Gallegos for the super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen carefully as ISUPK disrespects IUIC.
I said, Mama Quad, I don't want to get no $100 battle for the Passover because the Israelite Church of, what's the name of the purple faggots?
Did you hear what he said? The Israelite church of, what's the name of the purple F words?
That's in the Bible, man.
So again, reiterate everybody. A lot of these groups celebrate an annual Passover. It's not really like the biblical Passover, but they call it Passover. It's basically a get-together where they wear unique clothes for that one-time event. They're usually very flashy or showy. GMS doesn't do that because they don't tend to be flashy or showy in general, right? Not a disrespect, I'm just saying. Each group is different in how they do it, but they come together, and that's where you see a lot of the large group pictures where they're very elaborate. That's where a lot of the pictures come from. And he's saying there's a charge, but watch how he talks about IUIC there. He obviously knows their name, but listen to this.
$100 for the Passover. I said, Mama Quad, I don't want to get no $100 battle for the Passover because the Israelite church of, what's the name of the purple faggots? IUIC. The IUIC is charging $1,500 to go to their Passover. $1,500. Hold your point. And I said, sir, please, when we were planning for the Passover, I went and did this with my hands right here. I said, Commanding General Yohana, please, with all due respect.
This is how he refers to his leader, Commanding General Yohana, with all due respect, with a baking motion. And this is a group you're supposed to get to join to be free. Shout out to Rox B for the super chat. What's up, Rox B? How you doing? I'm sorry I'm keeping up late, but you guys are troopers.
Could you please charge $600 for the Passover?
He's saying just to spite the person complaining about the $100 charge, he's begging Commanding General Yohana to make it $600. Where does this attitude come from?
Baba Kushar, please. We're not even breaking even. We're paying for the Passover, and we're not even covering the cost, sir. Could you please spend $600? When I said $600, he said Shema. He told me to be quiet. And then he said the Passover is $100. And I said, come on, one cup. And left. I can't get in a battle over that $100. I can't have to prove that we should collect $100 for the Passover. Not when the IUIC is getting $1,500. When I ask for that 100, you better hand it over. Listen now. Maya, help me. Listen now. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Please don't play with me. Please don't play with me. Passover $100, you better pay. You better pay. You get a fine, you better pay. You better pay. You got tithes. If you make $20 a week, you better put $2 in an envelope and hand it in. Or else I'm going to find a way to make your life miserable here and make you leave the truth.
What? Who is this? Who put this person in charge of anybody? If you don't pay your tithes, so-called, if you get $20 and you don't put $2 in an envelope and give it to Isupk, don't play with me. I'm going to find a way to make your life miserable so you leave the truth. That's what he just said. It's one of those cases where you cannot make this stuff up. Thank you, Rox B, for the super chat.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend all my time and effort in getting you out of here. Because you don't deserve to sit next to people who make $100 and put $1 in an envelope and send it off. There are people out to give $5 in an envelope, suffering people off. And their sacrifice is counted for righteousness in here. And if you're selfish, you shouldn't be here. Malachi 1:7, go.
Malachi chapter 1 and verse 7. Ye offer polluted bread upon mine altar.
Only a few minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. We got a few minutes left. We're going to finish this out.
You offer polluted bread to this altar. And then you say, when have we polluted you? You don't even realize the evil that you do. You don't notice it. Why would someone give polluted bread to the priest as opposed to bread made with fine flour? Who knows? To cheat them. Because polluted bread, what's the difference between polluted bread and bread made with fine flour? One word. It's cheaper. Give her a hand. Right? This bread is full of mold. This is moldy old bread. This bread is fresh and made with fine flour. You want to give your moldy bread to the priest because the other bread is expensive. Don't do that. Give us your expensive bread.
Not very subtle. Give us your expensive bread, or else your children will die. You'll be imprisoned. You'll go into debt. You'll lose your job. Your marriage will fall apart. And you will be killed. You need me.
Give us your goddamn money. Give us the thing that you value the most.
That's a clip. That's a clip. I'm going to try to get it right on here. Listen carefully. This is a clip.
Old bread. This bread is fresh and made with fine flour. You want to give your moldy bread to the priest because the other bread is expensive. Don't do that. Give us your expensive bread. Give us your goddamn money. Give us the thing that you value the most. You give that to the UPK. Give that to the UPK. Don't give us the cheap garbage. Keep that for your damn self. Give us what is valuable because we are giving you the devotion of our life. Keep going.
And that
Maya. Keep going.
Keep that cheap garbage for yourself. Give the UPK your money.
In that, when you refuse to give what is expensive, what is valuable to the table of the Lord, in that you say the table of the Lord is contemptible. You believe that this school is not worthy of it. You believe this school is not worthy of it. This much I'll tell you. Anyone that cannot see the value that we do in the UPK, then get the hell out of here if you don't see it. But I know that even our enemies see the value that we put into every brother and sister. General Yohana doesn't drive a Mercedes-Benz, a Rolls-Royce. He gives away what he receives to those poor and needy. And you don't see the value in it, you are contemptible. And just so you understand, bitch, I wouldn't give you a penny.
Right.
Nothing. I go to court for 20 years rather than give you a dime, because all donations given to the Israelite School of UPK are non-refundable, yet tax deductible.
Isn't this guy just a peach? Isn't he just a sweetheart? Isn't he such a charmer? Listen to this again.
That we put into every brother and sister. General Yohana doesn't drive a Mercedes-Benz, a Rolls-Royce. He gives away what he receives to those poor and needy. And you don't see the value in it, you are contemptible. And just so you understand, bitch, I wouldn't give you a penny.
Right.
Nothing. I go to court for 20 years rather than give you a dime, because all donations given to the Israelite School of UPK are non-refundable, yet tax deductible. With that, pass the class over to
Yashima.
Police Officer.
That's right.
Yashima. Give him a hand.
What a powerful lesson, Ak. So look, ICPK may not charge double tithes, technically speaking, But listen to this. We just heard some of the worst blasphemies you could hear when you add it all up together. And you know there's a lot more beneath the surface. So, my guess is Isupk is going to come out with some kind of video or at least mention it somewhere. Sometimes I never see this stuff until way later. Oh, Vocab's the devil. He proved it again by lying on us about the double tithe. I already said it. It seems that I was wrong about that, right? It's like the title of the video. But you better believe I'm going to use it as an opportunity to talk about what you do to teach in regards to the tithe. And it's blasphemous. It's the worst out of all the Hebrews-like groups, possibly with the exception, possibly, of ICGJC. You know, I don't want to hear these guys complain about the Christian church and money-grubbing preachers. Yeah, there's a big problem with health and wealth. There's a big problem with prosperity gospel. There's a big problem, and I've critiqued it, and I'll critique it again. Check out Shai Lin's song, False Teachers, for example. But if you leave the Christian church because of money-grubbing preachers and you go to this, what have you accomplished? It's like, going from the Houston Rockets to the Minnesota Timberwolves. You haven't really improved your position here at all. So there's more that we're going to talk about in regards to these groups. And what's happening is we're going deeper into their doctrines. We're diving deeper. We're getting more specific over time. We're going to keep on doing it. And they're going to come back harder. They're not going to like this, all right, as time goes on. And so we are in for a doctrinal fight for our lives. A very real sense. And ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand that and keep these things in prayer, especially the men and women caught up in this stuff. And be prepared. This is no joke what we're talking. This is spiritual warfare, what we're talking about here. And on a practical level, if you mess with somebody's purse, their pocketbook, their bank account, they can get pretty vicious. So keep that in mind. We are playing with fire in a very real sense. And I understand that. So understand that. And to the live chat and to the audience, I'm not trying to chastise you. I just want us to all do better. I want us to be the kindest, friendliest, funniest, most perceptive, wittiest, coolest, most chill, most diverse, wisest, most loving, most knowledgeable live chat on YouTube. I'm not even joking. Like, let's go for a high standard. No, I don't always do it perfect, but be better than me when I'm not good. Galatians 6:1-2, And I really am asking us to follow along. If you believe in what's happening here, learn the differences of these things because it matters. And that's what we're doing. And today we discuss Isupk and their doctrine of tithes, and it's some heretical nonsense. There will be more where that came from. And with that, let's close out with a freestyle. Where's the beat? There it is. Yeah. All right. Vocab. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Yeah. Vocab, gotta get it off my chest. Yes, y'all, like UPS, I deliver. I make the beat quiver, back and forth, and now you can shiver from the cold. Oh, not so old. UPK wants all your gold. Don't fold up those folded bills. Check this out now, don't rhyme for the thrills, the dills, pickle. Peep this out now, insult like Don Rickle. Comedian on the beat again, driving in the median. Vocab spitting that meat again. Ladies and gentlemen, sweet like cinnamon. Here we come, you're here to Tiananmen Square. I'm there, beat is rare. Peep this out now, it's just like air. My head under the hat, the Black Panther. Jesus the Christ, he's the answer. Never was a dancer, although I like to break. Yes, indeed, now my tummy quakes like an earthquake that's off the Richter. Upon the beat, I'm like Jack the Ripper. The Big Dipper is the way home. home. But now I spit a poem, it's Vocab Malone. I say shalom, not shalom. Yes, indeed, I'm not a godfather, Don. Rock on and on, sincerely on. I go off and on like a white switch, light switch. Flip this, and here I come again with the tight twist like some dreads or braids. Yes, indeed, thank God I'm saved. I got that mic, the mic. Now, the pin does blaze. Peep this out now for all of my days. He gets my praise. I serve Yahweh. He's the only one who truly saves. Hey, okay, not UPK. Peep this out now, today, Tuesday, June 8th. We serve Yahweh like every single day, even on a Sunday. There's one way to heaven, not the reverend. Here I come again, the bread is unleavened. Upon the festival, what we do, just a martyr plus the crew. Shout out to you. Everybody else, I don't rhyme for your wealth. I don't rhyme for my health. I rhyme cause it's fun. Strap on your seatbelt. We gonna rock the meat. Riding. Here we come again. Talk about the tithing. Yes, indeed. Going off again. We're talking about the offering. And yes, the giving. I'm delivering. Living for Jesus the Christ. I'm spitting these rhymes like from saliva. Go deep down like a scuba diver into the ocean. Now I'm floating. Vocab Malone. And I'm not choking. Never smoking. Unless it's spiritual, lyrical, miracle, individual. Yes, indeed, empirical. Evidence and proof I brought to you. Isupk, the truth, not the home of, listen, the home of what? Of crooks and robbers. The beat make your head nada. Yes, indeed, now that's the job of the producer. Got the juicer going off like the end of the movie off the roof. Uh-oh, know the reference. Peep this out now, I don't show deference to the commander. Like a salamander inside the cave. Now I be the slammer from here to Alabama. Bammer.
Turn your radio up. Whoa. Radio time. Whoa. You're now listening to Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. On the radio. Street Apologists. Street Apologists.